Welcome to Success Path Academy. Questions on Sun, Earth, and Moon relationships covering day/night, seasons, and how these bodies interact. What is the nearest star to Earth? Answer: the Sun. What causes day and night on Earth? Answer: Earth's rotation on its axis. How long does it take the Earth to make one complete rotation? Answer: 24 hours, 1 day. What do we call the path the Earth takes around the Sun? Answer: orbit. How long does it take the Earth to orbit the Sun once? Answer: 1 year, about 365 days. What causes the seasons on Earth? Answer: the tilt of Earth's axis and its orbit around the Sun. When it is day on one side of Earth, what is it on the other side? Answer: night. What is the imaginary line that Earth spins around called? Answer: axis. How many times does Earth rotate in 1 year? Answer: about 365 times. What do we call the time when the Sun appears highest in the sky? Answer: noon. What is the main reason we have seasons? Answer: Earth's axis is tilted. What is the name for the shortest day of the year? Answer: winter solstice. What is the name for the longest day of the year? Answer: summer solstice. When do we have equal day and night? Answer: during the equinoxes, spring and fall. What is the phase of the moon when it looks completely round and bright? Answer: full moon. What is the phase of the moon when we cannot see it at all? Answer: new moon. How long does it take the moon to orbit the Earth? Answer: about 29 days, 1 month. What causes the moon to shine? Answer: it reflects sunlight. Why does the Sun look bigger than other stars? Answer: it is much closer to Earth. What is the only natural satellite of Earth? Answer: the Moon. What do we call the changing shapes of the Moon as seen from Earth? Answer: moon phases. What is a solar eclipse? Answer: when the Moon passes between the Earth and the Sun, blocking the Sun. What is a lunar eclipse? Answer: when the Earth passes between the Sun and the Moon, casting a shadow on the Moon. What direction does the Sun rise? Answer: east. What direction does the Sun set? Answer: west. Why does the Sun appear to move across the sky? Answer: because Earth is rotating. What is a day? Answer: the time it takes Earth to rotate once. What is a year? Answer: the time it takes Earth to orbit the Sun once. Why do we see different constellations in different seasons? Answer: because Earth orbits the Sun. What is the hottest part of the day? Answer: afternoon. What is the coldest part of the day? Answer: just before sunrise. What is the name of the line that divides day and night on Earth? Answer: the terminator. Why is it summer in one hemisphere and winter in the other? Answer: because of the tilt of Earth's axis. What season is it in the northern hemisphere when it is summer in the southern hemisphere? Answer: winter. What is the main source of light and heat for Earth? Answer: the Sun. What do we call the spinning of Earth on its axis? Answer: rotation. What do we call the movement of Earth around the Sun? Answer: revolution. How many hours are in a day? Answer: 24. How many days are in a year? Answer: 365, 366 in a leap year. What happens to the length of shadows during the day? Answer: they are longest in the morning and evening, shortest at noon. What is the shape of Earth's orbit around the Sun? Answer: nearly circular, ellipse. What is the main reason for different lengths of day and night? Answer: Earth's tilt. What is the moon made of? Answer, rock. What is the sun made of? Answer, hot gases, mostly hydrogen and helium. What do we call the imaginary line that runs from the North Pole to the South Pole? Answer, axis. What causes the phases of the moon? Answer, the moon's position relative to Earth and the sun. What is the first phase after a new moon? Answer, waxing crescent. What is the phase after the full moon? Answer, waning gibbous. What is the dark, central part of a shadow called during an eclipse? Answer, umbra. What is the lighter, outer part of a shadow called during an eclipse? Answer, penumbra. How many times does the moon rotate on its axis in one orbit around Earth? Answer, once. Why do we always see the same side of the moon? Answer, the moon rotates once for every orbit around Earth. What is the average distance from Earth to the Sun? Answer, about 93 million miles, 150 million kilometers. What is the average distance from Earth to the Moon? Answer, about 239,000 miles, 384,000 kilometers. What is the main cause of tides on Earth? Answer, the moon's gravity. What is the name for the path the moon takes around Earth? Answer, orbit. What is the name for the path Earth takes around the sun? Answer, orbit. What is the name for the imaginary line that the sun appears to follow across the sky? Answer, ecliptic. What is the time when the sun is directly overhead called? Answer, solar noon. What is the time of year when the sun is lowest in the sky at noon? Answer, winter. What is the time of year when the sun is highest in the sky at noon? Answer, summer. What is the main reason the moon looks different throughout the month? Answer, its position changes relative to Earth and the sun. What is the name for a moon that is getting bigger each night? Answer, waxing. What is the name for a moon that is getting smaller each night? Answer, waning. What is the name for the moon when it is more than half full but not completely full? Answer, gibbous. What is the name for the moon when it is less than half full? Answer, crescent. What is the name for the half-lit moon? Answer, quarter moon. What is the name for the moon when it is completely dark? Answer, new moon. What is the name for the moon when it is completely bright? Answer, full moon. How many main phases does the moon have? Answer, 4, new, first quarter, full, last quarter. What is the main reason we have leap years? Answer, to keep our calendar in sync with Earth's orbit. What happens during a solar eclipse? Answer, the moon blocks the sun. What happens during a lunar eclipse? Answer, Earth's shadow falls on the moon. What is the name for the time when the sun is up? Answer, daytime. What is the name for the time when the sun is down? Answer, nighttime. What happens to the sun's position in the sky as the seasons change? Answer, it appears higher in summer and lower in winter. What is the reason we don't feel the Earth moving? Answer, it rotates smoothly and we move with it. What is the main reason the sun appears to rise and set? Answer, Earth's rotation. What is the name for the point on Earth directly beneath the sun at noon? Answer, subsolar point. What is the name for the imaginary circle around Earth where the sun is directly overhead at noon during the equinoxes? Answer, equator. What is the name for the imaginary lines above and below the equator where the sun is directly overhead at the solstices? Answer, Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn. What is the name for the 2 points where Earth's axis meets its surface? Answer, North Pole and South Pole. What is the name for the movement of the moon around Earth? Answer, revolution. What is the name for the movement of Earth around the Sun? Answer, revolution. What is the name for the spinning of Earth on its axis? Answer, rotation. What is the name for the imaginary line dividing the northern and southern hemispheres? Answer, equator. What is the name for the imaginary lines running from pole to pole? Answer, meridians, lines of longitude. What is the name for the imaginary lines running around Earth parallel to the equator? Answer, parallels, lines of latitude. What is the name for the time when the Sun is directly over the equator? Answer, equinox. What is the name for the time when the Sun is farthest from the equator? Answer, solstice. What is the name for the Moon's path around Earth? Answer, orbit. What is the name for the Sun's path across the sky? Answer, apparent path, ecliptic. What is the name for the outer layer of the Sun that we see? Answer, photosphere. What is the name for the dark spots sometimes seen on the Sun? Answer, sunspots. What is the name for the bright ring seen around the Sun during a total solar eclipse? Answer, corona. What is the name for the time when the Sun never sets in the polar regions? Answer, midnight sun. What is the name for the time when the Sun never rises in the polar regions? Answer, polar night. What is the name for the point in Earth's orbit when it is closest to the Sun? Answer, perihelion. What is the name for the point in Earth's orbit when it is farthest from the Sun? Answer, aphelion.